Tonight on 7 News, the Aussie hero who saved a class full of children in the Spanish flood disaster, the split-second decision that saved them all.
The tragic loss of 2 police dogs in Sydney's west that should never have happened.
Donald Trump upsets women again, and the Democrats seize the moment.
Thousands of Australian workers take home huge pay rises from today, starting in our skies.
Shock as Sydney Water makes the case for a huge price hike that would sink many households.
And what now for Josh Addo-Carr after being sacked by the Bulldogs?
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Angie, Asimus and Michael Usher.
Good evening. An Australian school teacher in Spain has given a chilling account of how she saved her class full of young children from catastrophic floods, leading them to safety with only seconds to spare.
155 people are now known to have died, with hundreds of soldiers now helping search for the missing. Tonight, thousands of people are in search of food and fresh water. Ben Downey reports from the disaster zone.
How does a nation begin to recover from this? A region so battered, this a still unfolding disaster in every sense of the word. After a wall of water swept through Valencia. In the town of Paiporta, 3 of the town's 4 bridges were swept away.
Sort of ocean came here and everything was underwater. Everything suddenly, in 10 minutes, all the town was absolutely full of water.
A deluge that nearly killed Australian English teacher Carolyn Doyle. She had 3 minutes to decide what to do with her students.
I took the hands of the kids and I was like, take my hand, and I was like, we're going to be fine. We're going to figure this out. I just knew that I had to get somewhere up high.
After experiencing the Brisbane floods, her survival instincts kicked in. This was her view protecting her pupils.
All this time we were sort of thinking, when is this going to stop?
At least 43 people died in this one town. Here, a man smashes into an apartment building, an attempt to get a child to safety. Now, an exodus of flood refugees is in search of shelter and the basics.
I'm afraid because I'm alive, but I don't have food, I don't have water, I don't have electricity. I have a family.
For 2 days, bulldozers have been busy scooping people to safety instead of shoveling debris. Now they can finally turn their attention to cleaning up these streets. Much needed help will finally arrive.
There is heartache everywhere and so much to do to return this usually sunny slice of Spain to any sense of normality. People are waking up to another difficult day here with many more to come. Desperation is really setting in. Residents come up to us asking for help finding food and water, and there's a real sense of anger too at the time it took for warnings to arrive, many not landing until water was already hitting people's homes. Now another 500 soldiers are being deployed today to southeastern Spain to help recover bodies and search for those still missing. But in reality, it's the locals here doing most of the work.
Quite extraordinary destruction there, Ben. Thank you, Ben Downey in Spain. Well, detectives are investigating how 2 police dogs died inside a hot patrol car with no one noticing a warning alarm. German Shepherds Extra and Soldier were in a special dog squad vehicle designed to protect them.
The bond between dog and handler on show just weeks ago.
Yeah, he's a German Shepherd.
What's his name?
Extra.
But police dog Extra and his training buddy Soldier died from heat exhaustion yesterday, locked in their patrol car designed to be safe, found by their handler who worked and lived with them.
He, as you can imagine, is devastated. He had the very difficult task of going home yesterday afternoon to inform his wife and his 2 children.
Launched last year, the Tiguan was
a revolutionary new dog squad vehicle. We also have air conditioning in the vehicle for the dogs.
A major investigation now underway into how that system failed. 7-year-old Extra and 15-month-old Soldier waited in their pods for 2 hours while officers attended a training session at Lucas Heights. Temperatures outside above 27 degrees.
When we returned to the motor vehicle, it had ceased, which obviously that makes the air conditioner cease as well.
An alarm did sound, warning the cooling was out, but no one heard it.
Unfortunately, when the police went down there, it was too late.
The question now, was this suspected fault a problem with just one vehicle, or does it extend across the entire fleet? That will need to be answered before the police force, and more importantly, its handlers, can have confidence their animals will be safe.
I am confident that there is no human error and the vehicle has been towed.
Andrew Denny, 7 News.
Police guns could now be electronically tracked following the use of a police firearm in an alleged double murder. Former officers Beau Lamar Condon is accused of using a police gun to murder Jesse Baird and Luke Davies. It triggered a review which has now recommended radio tags to log gun movements, but police admit it still comes down to trust.
If they're allowed to carry a firearm around with them all day, then we've got to put faith in them for the movement as well.
New police guns have radio tags built in, but special readers would have to be installed at stations.
The inquest into the mass murder at Westfield Bondi Junction is about to take a significant step forward. Chris Marr joins us now. Chris, good evening. We heard from the coroner today.
Yes, Michael. Magistrate Teresa O'Sullivan will convene a hearing on the 12th of November when she will make important directions in the case. She is, of course, investigating what led to that horrific day in April when 6 people were murdered while Saturday shopping by 40-year-old Joel Couchy, who was then shot and killed by police. We understand the coroner will update the families of the state of the inquiry and, importantly, when the public hearings will begin, when we expect to hear harrowing stories from witnesses and survivors. And, of course, every step of that process will bring back painful memories for many Sydney-siders.
Very, very tough. Thank you, Chris. The family of the 40-year-old driver who ploughed into a Melbourne schoolyard has shared a heartfelt statement. They reveal their genuine sorrow after the incident that claimed the life of 11-year-old Jack Davey, adding everyone is in shock, wishing this was just a bad dream. They also offered their condolences to Jack's family and his 4 schoolmates who were injured in an overwhelming tragedy. There's been a fierce backlash to a bizarre rant from Donald Trump, who said he'd protect women whether they like it or not. It's left a bitter taste in the mouth of many, including Jennifer Lopez. The singer unleashed, making a powerful and emotional speech at a rally for Kamala Harris.
Beamed across the largest screen in the world, the biggest political ad for a race where the polls show the slimmest of margins. Kamala Harris in Las Vegas, and betting star power will help her win the White House. Jennifer Lopez, the latest big name to back Harris.
Kamala Harris is running for the people who dream.
J-Lo's family is from the island a Trump rally comedian called Floating Garbage, Puerto Rico.
It wasn't just Puerto Ricans that were offended that day. Okay? It was every Latino in this country. It was humanity and anyone of decent character.
Though the former president is battling a new political firestorm from this.
I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them.
Very offensive to women in terms of not understanding their agency, their authority.
Polling this month shows Donald Trump way behind among women voters, and yet way ahead among men.
How is he going to be a protector when he's a convicted criminal and a rapist?
That the view at a Harris rally in Phoenix, but queuing at a nearby Trump event.
These are all the women that are supporting Trump.
Donald Trump also in a state no one expects he'll win.
And they all said, don't come. I said, why? You can't win New Mexico. I said, look, your votes are rigged. We can win New Mexico.
Hoping perhaps to win back Hispanic voters turned off by the Puerto Rico joke.
I like you very much, and it's good for my credentials with the Hispanic or Latino community.
As Democrats welcome another celebrity to Team Harris.
Tonight, NBA superstar LeBron James is endorsing Harris, posting a video and writing, "The choice is clear to me."
As Election Day nears, nerves grow about the days immediately after, about how America will manage a result likely to be very close and contested. The gravity of this election not lost on those who'll decide it.
Democracy itself, the Constitution, and so many countries count on us.
including New Zealand, Australia, to be that beacon of hope.
In Phoenix, Arizona, Tim Lester, 7 News.
And this Sunday night, hope you can join me for a special edition of Spotlight covering the race to the White House, some interesting interviews. And then 7's live coverage of the US presidential election count begins 11:30 next Wednesday morning. It's going to be a big day. Well, the travel perk saga is getting uglier by the day. Labor now accusing Peter Dutton of lying about his use of a private jet belonging to Gina Rinehart. It's setting the stage for all-out war between the major parties next week when Parliament returns.
The Prime Minister gets a nickname downgrade.
Upgrade Albo and his dodgy deals.
Susan Lee knows how damaging travel scandals can be. She resigned as a minister in 2017 after taking taxpayer flights to buy a Gold Coast apartment.
The key here is declare it if it's happened and be honest about it.
Claiming opposition leader Peter Dutton hasn't been. Asked on Tuesday if he'd asked mining billionaire Gina Rinehart to use her private jet.
No. Now it turns out that that's a lie.
Mr Dutton revealing yesterday his office had requested Ms Rinehart's jet for him to fly return from North Queensland to Sydney for a Bali bombing memorial.
After the government refused him a government flight.
So the bloke who's been attacking the Prime Minister uphill and down dale all week about this is guilty of the thing that he wrongly accused the Prime Minister of.
Transport shadow Bridget McKenzie, who led the attacks on Anthony Albanese's declared upgrades, is still investigating how many upgrades she's failed to declare herself.
She sort of came out all guns blazing but managed to shoot her foot off.
Shades of the dual citizenship affair, the Parliament again on a path of mutually assured destruction. Both sides scrambling to update their travel records while preparing to take each other down when hostilities resume here next week. Mark Riley, 7 News.
Workers across the country are set for thousands of dollars in pay rises under so-called same job, same pay legislation. The federal opposition is vowing to repeal the laws if elected next year, but some employees are already celebrating big windfalls.
For workers in the sky to those digging up the ground, same job, same pay is now in effect. 800 Qantas long-haul flight attendants have just received a 28% pay rise.
Qantas has not employed a long-haul flight attendant since before 2007. So it's incredible that we've been able to sit down and negotiate a fair outcome.
The federal government's new laws target labour hire companies, where some employees are paid less than parent company workers, even if they have the same tasks and responsibilities.
For too long, we've seen big companies in Australia employ permanent employees at one pay rate and then top up their workforce by bringing in labour hire employees on much lower rates and conditions.
Among the first to benefit, staff at a Queensland mine, who now receive up to $20,000 more per year. And at a Queensland meatworks, labour hire workers celebrate pay rises of 25%. But if there's a change of federal government next year, these laws could be short-lived. The opposition says it will repeal same job, same pay if it wins the election. Industry groups warn of the increased cost and claim it removes discretion around hiring employees at different stages of their career.
Well, this is just another step that's going to make it harder for employers to engage Australians. It takes no account of a person's background, their responsibility, their experience.
More than 40 same job, same pay claims are being processed by the Fair Work Commission. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
Cost of living crisis could be about to get worse, with plans for a whopping 50% increase in water bills. Sydney Water blaming the city's booming population and climate change. Here's Sally Bowery to explain.
If Sydney Water had its way, the typical water bill of $1,300 will rise to more than $2,000 in 5 years. And it could keep going, hitting $2,300 in 10 years, $1,000 more every year. The State Government Corporation has written a 500-page submission arguing for the increases, blaming ageing assets, population growth and climate change. It says to cope, it needs to spend $16 billion on new infrastructure, mostly in Western Sydney. Up to 50,000 kilometres of new pipes will be needed to help New South Wales reach its target of building 300,000 new homes. While the increase is yet to be approved by the regulator, Sydney Water is expecting customers to struggle. It's setting aside $1 billion in bill relief.
One Nation leader, Pauline Hanson, has been found guilty of racially vilifying a Green senator. The federal court has ruled a post on X from 2022 telling Marine Faruqi to return to Pakistan was an angry personal attack that conveyed a strong form of racism.
Today is a win of every single person who has been told to go back to where they came from.
Hanson has now been ordered to delete the post within 7 days and pay Faruqi's legal costs.
Josh Addo-Carr's playing future is in the balance tonight, now a free agent after being dumped by the Bulldogs.
The 29-year-old has paid a hefty price for his positive cocaine test and is likely to secure a much smaller contract next year, if any at all.
Nicknamed the Fox, known for his speed on the field. Josh Addo-Carr is now over and out.
His loyalty to the fans and the club was undying and unwavering.
But the club's loyalty to him was tested. Last night, the board tore up his contract on the spot after the 29-year-old was pulled over by police and tested positive for cocaine in September.
No comment, my brother. No comment, bro.
Saying it views the combination of the failed drug test and subsequent lack of transparency as serious breaches of contractual obligations and club standards.
We believe that he had a strong case, including the fact that he joined the club at their lowest time and gave his heart and soul for the club.
He dives into the end goal.
But while there might be disagreement, there's still respect. Addo-Carr says he wishes the club and especially their fans nothing but success.
The decision was tough.
Honestly, it's very sad to see Addo-Carr leaving. He's a great footy player. He deserves a second chance, mate.
After losing a contract worth more than $500,000 a year, the question now is where Addo-Carr's face will show up next.
Josh is a class act, and he will assist any club that he ends up at in the future.
Amy Clemens, 7 News.
Thousands of Sydney-siders are celebrating tonight the victory of light over darkness and good over evil.
It's Diwali, when Hindus quite literally light up the world.
Ancient tradition aglow in Sydney's northwest.
It's just my passion. I love celebrating Diwali.
Neighbourhoods being lit up for the Festival of Light, with a competition judging the best. In Marsden Park, Shreya spent nearly a month on her creation, which gets bigger each year.
Can't count the lights. It's too many.
Can you go any bigger?
A lot bigger. I can see a lot of empty spots there.
With light by candle inside homes and businesses. Offerings and prayers.
It's the largest festival in the Indian subcontinent, and I would say it's like basically the Christmas for the Hindus. Means victory of good over evil or light over darkness.
From the lights in the streets to the shops selling sweets, Sydney's Indian community is buzzing.
In Harris Park, Sydney's Little India savouring the selection at Taj Sweets, buying big to share with family and friends. Down the street, sweet jalebi made the traditional way. It's a time for new clothes and jewellery.
Before Diwali and during Diwali, people buy gold as gifts. Then it gives them good luck throughout the year if you buy gold and also silver.
With the growing Indian community, Diwali's growing popularity calls to make it a public holiday.
Oh yes, why not?
Rituals, celebrations, the lights, sweets. It feels like home.
Paul Kadak, 7 News.
Looking great. Well, time to check the forecast now with Amber Laidler. Amber, plenty of sunshine to end the working week.
Angie, Michael, good evening. Yeah, we were bracing for potentially a bit of a grey end to the working week, but while skies were slightly overcast to start, conditions cleared to make way for a mostly sunny day. This is the view from the 7 News helicopter looking back at the city earlier this afternoon. Under those mostly clear skies, temperatures were close to average today. It reached 26 at Richmond, 24 was the top at Manly. There is a chance we'll see a few more showers over Sydney tonight and tomorrow before a burst of summer heat arrives. Only briefly though, your detailed 7-day outlook coming up soon, Michael and Angie.
All right, Amber, thank you for that. Well, there's a surprise shift in Sydney's property market after the break. The suburb's still booming as values fall.
From bad to worse for Sydney Uni, students caught ripping up a report into rape.
Australian seniors go back to class, a breakthrough in the fight against dementia. The details at 6:30.
The popular Sydney shop's about to get a high-tech makeover. That's after sport.
And the big Sydney beach being totally overrun by blue bottles. The University of Sydney's college culture scandal appears to be getting messier. Students have been captured publicly tearing up a report into rape and sexual violence at its residential colleges.
To have it ripped up and thrown in our faces, and to hear elected representative students to say we don't care was disgraceful and shocking.
Dozens of students were suspended, 6 expelled over serious allegations of bullying at St Paul's College.
Emergency services have rescued a woman trapped and badly injured in the wreckage of her car on an Edgecliff road. Officers on patrol spotted the sedan flipped onto its roof in the early hours of the morning. The 47-year-old driver was taken to hospital in a critical condition. It's not clear how that car overturned.
Well, hopes of selling your house for top dollar in Sydney have taken a hit unless you're looking to sell in our west.
Homes there, very much hot property, with a humble piece of Penrith up for grabs for the first time in half a century.
On 600 square metres of land, a swimming pool and secluded space.
We're advertising this as a third living room or guest retreat.
A pocket of South Penrith on the market for the first time in 50 years, going for Sydney's median home price of $1.2 million.
Right now we're seeing that's where your premium homes in South Penrith are selling for.
But according to a latest CoreLogic report, prices across Sydney are falling.
October marked a shift for the Sydney housing market, with values slipping 0.1%. And that's the first time in 20 months. I would expect for the next few months, prices are going to continue to come down.
Affordable areas of Sydney continue to perform the strongest. Fairfield, followed by St Mary's, Mount Druitt, Bankstown, all up more than 10% in the year. Canterbury not far behind.
People are starting to say, well, is it actually going to cost me less to buy in a more affordable area than what it's costing me to rent in a more expensive area?
For the first time in 25 years, the price gap between Sydney and Melbourne is the largest it's ever been. And that is seeing an exodus of some prospective investors and home buyers going south.
Just because more and more it's looking relatively affordable.
Angelique Opie, 7 News.
Police have caught 2 men accused of attacking a security guard at the Granville Diggers Club. It's alleged the pair stabbed the 36-year-old not long after he'd offered them help when they'd crashed their car. The 24 and 28-year-old men fled the scene. They've since been charged and appeared in court today. A dangerous invasion of poisonous blue bottles has washed up on Bronte Beach. They're not deadly, but their sting is extremely painful. Blue bottles are easily picked up by the wind and are often blown ashore on gustier, warmer days. The unwelcome stingers have since been cleaned up by Waverley Council. There's plenty happening this Friday, still to come on 7 News. The Australian seniors learning how to delay or even dodge dementia.
Western Sydney fraud sting, luxury living thanks to a disability rip-off.
Touch and go, the sideways landing in stormy weather.
An Australian couple's incredible moment on stage with Coldplay.
Black Friday comes early. The sale's happening now for a head start on Christmas.
And are you not entertained? We catch up with the stars of Gladiator II.
Ahead in sport exclusive, Toby Green on the Giants scandal to end all parties.
Three people have been sentenced to jail for their roles in a Western Sydney fraud syndicate that scammed the government out of millions of dollars. The court heard they defrauded the NDIS and ATO out of $5.8 million with forged medical documents and business reports. Police also uncovered nearly $2 million in cash, gold and crypto and seized 3 luxury vehicles. One of the nation's leading researchers has offered a series of markers to look out for to help spot the signs of dementia.
She's also leading a charge to help Australians ward off the condition by stepping into the science lab.
On diagnosing dementia,
there you go.
It's never one size fits all.
That one might be a bit small.
For most of us,
say someone you've only met once and forgetting their name, that's not a sign.
But
forgetting a name of a family member, getting lost, not being able to follow a recipe that you've always made.
For Des,
my mum had dementia. The memorable one was when she drove on the wrong side of the street and the cops pulled her over.
Say no more.
So I'm trying to do everything to avoid dementia.
It's why his is here, a science class for seniors, exercising everything from memory
If you go back to the end of World War II,
to movement
this one down here,
to try and dodge or delay dementia,
Things you do now in middle age can prevent you getting it as you get older.
to reduce your daily risk by 40%, exercise, socialise, and on alcohol, minimise. Also, get a hobby like travel.
Look at you relaxing.
Hector Steele, who's been diagnosed with dementia, is just back from Bali. All expenses paid on the NDIS.
He remembers being on the plane, he remembers being on the beach.
And just keeping yourself going as you get older.
So, in the end, the science for seniors is really quite simple.
Do you want one of mine?
Keep on, keeping on.
I want to do everything I can.
Zoe Martin, 7 News.
More than 400 women have now made shocking allegations of rape and sexual assault against the Harrods boss Mohammed Al Fayed. The group includes 6 Australian women who worked at the billionaire's store. Lawyers say they're seeking justice for the survivors.
So that the world can finally understand the truth of what really happened within the walls of Harrods.
Harrods is accused of covering up the allegations. Al Fayed died last year, aged 94.
Spare a thought for the passengers and crew on board this flight in Taiwan. With powerful winds whipping up mayhem, the plane was tossed about as it came in for its landing, which was quickly aborted. Taiwan's east coast has been lashed by a typhoon, the largest storm of its size in 3 decades.
Black Friday is still weeks away, but some retailers have slashed their prices earlier than ever. The trend is apparently helping shoppers tick off the present wish list and spread out their spending.
The decorations are up, Christmas is here, at least in the retail world.
It absolutely is all about Christmas.
For most of us, it's still too soon.
Have you done any Christmas shopping yet?
No, I'm a bit slack with that. I normally wait till the 1st of December and I do it all in one day.
But it might be wise to shop the sales. Black Friday is on November 29. The discounts, though, are already here.
Yes, the sales have started to trickle in.
Temple & Webster up to 50% off. Activewear label Stacks, discounts of up to 70%. Lenovo has launched early access across a range of laptops and tablets. On Amazon, you can snag the Dyson Airwrap for $600, save nearly 50% on the cordless vacuum cleaner.
In fact, we're seeing consumers this year start shopping a lot earlier just so that they can better manage their finances.
Australians who used Afterpay last year spent $1,400 each on average. 59% say this year they'll spend the same, if not more.
Almost every major retailer, even the supermarkets, will be getting involved in this mega sales weekend, competing with each other to offer the best deals.
They like to leverage the biggest moment of the year and the traffic that does come to the centre over that period.
Gearing up for a shopping surge. Georgia Holland, 7 News.
Sydney faced with a stinky problem. Up next, the dire warning as we start running out of room for rubbish.
The hunt for a hoon risking lives on a freeway, and 7 News was there.
Picking up where Russell Crowe left off, we sit down with Gladiator II star Paul Mescal.
And soon in sport, Jerome Luai's first message to Tigers fans, and he's very optimistic.
There is a bit of a smelly problem emerging in Sydney. We are running out of room to store rubbish. The looming landfill crisis is so severe, red bin collection could cease to exist by 2030. That is according to the Environment Minister and the EPA, who warn we may have to look interstate to dispose of waste. The Min's government is pointing the finger at the opposition, saying it didn't act when in power.
A motorcyclist has flirted with danger at high speed. A 7 News crew captured the hoon's reckless stunt on a Perth freeway, performing a wheelie in front of stunned drivers. Fortunately, the rider avoided a nasty accident, quickly going back onto both wheels. The video has been passed on to WA Police.
It was one of the biggest films of a generation, and now there's a new Gladiator appearing in the arena.
2 decades on, the sequel aims to conquer the box office with the same might as the original Russell Crowe epic.
An ancient Rome brought to life by movie magic.
The first couple of fights, the adrenaline is like through the roof.
He would do the entire sequence from beginning to end for
all of the takes on us up in the Royal Box. And
Because I loved it.
Paul Mescal plays Lucius, son of Russell Crowe's character Maximus from the original Gladiator.
He's got an inbuilt genetic kind of relationship to Maximus, but he's not aware of it.
It's an all-star cast, including Pedro Pascal, Denzel Washington and a monkey.
Yeah, Paul was doing his gladiator training and I was doing monkey training.
Shot in Malta and Morocco, sometimes in 38-degree heat.
Conditions were beautiful for like weekends when you're not rolling around in the sand and sweating copious amounts when you're fighting.
Gladiator II now eyeing box office success when it's released in cinemas on November 14.
Rave reviews, talk of award season. How does that sit with you all?
relief. You know, I think we were all sort of like aware just how high the bar was. We all came on there willing to literally put everything out there for the film.
Angelique Opie, 7 News.
Taking a look at finance now, the ASX 200 has ended the week 41 points down. The banks followed Macquarie's lead, which lost more than 3% after issuing a profit warning. It was a mixed day for miners. One Australian dollar currently buying 65.61 US cents. A shopping revolution bound for Sydney still to come. The popular stores with game-changing technology from change rooms to checkouts.
And Coldplay makes it a night to remember for this couple on the band's Australian tour. Don't miss those stories shortly here on 7 News. But first, Matt is here with sport. Matt Drome-Luai, he's got a message for the Tigers.
Yeah, he does. Michael and Angie, good evening. They'll be happy to hear this. He'll arrive for next season expecting to win and win often. That's next. Also, one of the left field contenders rules himself out of becoming a test opening batsman. And a Sydney golfing prodigy opens up on the freak accident threatening a career that should be bound for the majors. At an off-the-radar off-season training session, Giants captain Toby Green has broken his silence on the wild dress-up party that humiliated his club. 13 players were fined or suspended for a wild party that Green concedes could be the end of post-season festivities.
In the doghouse with the AFL, Toby Green knows the Giants' post-season dress-up party crossed the line.
There's things we could have done better, myself and as a club, and we learned them throughout the process, and I guess all we can do is make sure it doesn't happen again and then get a lot better from it. 6
players were suspended for costumes and skits, including New York's Twin Towers, former rugby league star Jared Hayne, and sex acts with a doll. Green was one of 7 players fined. Initially it was $20,000, but he negotiated it down to 5.
There was just a few mistakes leading into it and how it played out, and the way we finished the season, no one really anticipated being there on that day.
A remorseful Green says he's addressed GWS staff over the scandal.
We wish we could have been better, and I learned a lot from it, to be honest, mate, and it was really disappointing.
The saga has placed the future of post-season dress-up parties in doubt, with some experts calling for costumes to be scrapped altogether. Do you think this is the end of dress-ups or Mad Monday over the top?
Oh, that's not for me to decide, mate. I'll just go with the flow, but I don't think we'll be doing too much next year.
Mitch Cleary, 7 News.
Jerome Luai is intent on changing culture at West Tigers and make winning a habit. He said his first message to members from England, where he's leading Samoa.
Can't wait to meet you guys, to feel your energy and to feel your presence. And I'm here to win. I'm here to win consistently, so I hope you guys are ready for the ride.
First, Luai set for another fiery second test this weekend. Matt Short will open for Australia in Monday's first one-dayer against Pakistan, but ruled himself out of the running for the vacant test opening role.
No, I don't think so. Look, I've played probably my better red ball cricket through the middle. It's a completely different sort of setup.
Nathan McSweeney made 39 in Australia A's 195 in Mackay. India A have settled into their second innings. At North Sydney, Georgia Vohl's 92 led the Thunder to 5 for 212, their highest WBBL score. The Thunder beat the Strikers by 64 runs. And how about this work from Annika Leroyd dancing, taking a catch on the boundary. A race with truly international flavour is all set in order for the $10 million Golden Eagle. That's a lot of money in anyone's language.
C'est un bon terrain. Franchement, c'est un bon tracé. Je pense que
this will be very tactical and obviously the best horse will be winning tomorrow.
Just hoping for a bit of luck in running, and all goes well. I think he has a really good chance.
And maybe playing second fiddle these days, Melbourne's Cup Carnival begins with Derby Day at Flemington. Here's Bruce McAvaney.
What a wonderful contrast tomorrow. All the history of Derby Day at Flemington and all that money at Rosehill Gardens with a Golden Eagle. No surprise, a Cummings to the fore in the Derby. This time Anthony, his colt El Castillo's been unbeaten this spring. Bad draw, but certainly the one to beat. And I think Jamie Carr is the jockey to follow through the 3 Group 1s. And at Rosehill Gardens, where our main focus will be, it's the second richest race in Australia, the $10 million Golden Eagle. Jolly Star for Chris Waller leads the Australian defence for the 4-year-olds up against a fantastic group of internationals. Lazat, unbeaten from France, and in particular this filly from Japan, Ascoli Pacino, to be ridden by the magic man from Brazil, Joe Moreira, off a very wide draw. The other big highlight, Bella Nipotina, she's going to try and do something no one has done, and that's win the Everest and the big sprint on this day. If she does, $20 million plus in prize money, second only to Winks.
It's a lot of money. Devastated but defiant, golfer Jeffrey Guan, described as a once-in-a-generation talent, refuses to give up on his dreams, despite suffering serious eye damage in a freak on-course accident. The prodigious 20-year-old from Bexley is determined to come back. Support is critical.
Gifted golfer Jeffrey Guan, his left eye seriously damaged by another player's rogue shot.
As I turned towards the cart to put my club away, that's when I was struck. I just remember just falling to the ground, and then next thing I knew, the ambulance was taking me to the hospital.
The freak accident a week after 20-year-old Jeffrey debuted on the PGA Tour.
It's been really tough, not just the pain, but also like the anxiety of what was to happen in the future of my career.
Struck last month at Bateman's Bay, airlifted to Sydney Eye Hospital, numerous operations, doctor's orders, no golf.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I haven't had thoughts about just taking a sneaky swing here and there. It could take 6 months to a year for the eye to probably fully heal and for me to get back into what I love doing most.
Certainly this has been a big speed hump and one of the bigger ones that an athlete's going to face.
From the age of 8, Jeffrey's been good. Very good.
Yeah, absolutely one of the best we've seen.
Supported by Aussie golfing greats, last year winning the Cam Smith Scholarship.
He was probably one of the guys for me when I hung out with him that probably impressed me the most, and it is going to be a massive hurdle, but I think he can still do it.
The Australian Sports Foundation urging donations to support Jeffrey. Medical bills alone close to $500,000.
Means a lot to me and my family, so thank you guys.
Andrew McKinlay, 7 News.
He's just a great fella, and his dad. It was really great to meet them. If there's any way people can just give a bit of support to Jeff, it'll mean a lot. He could come back, watch him win a major one day. That'd be amazing.
That'd be amazing. I'm sure he does have a bright future once he gets through all this.
He's champion. Yeah.
Thanks, Maddie. Well, fashion store Zara is revolutionising the way we shop with the launch of a futuristic in-store experience. Smartphones can reserve fitting rooms and little elevators will fetch your click and collect purchases without needing to speak to anyone. And there's a high-tech change at the checkout too.
It picks up what you've put in the basket. You don't actually need to scan it properly. It just knows what you've put in.
The upgrades are happening in Adelaide first before being rolled out in Sydney.
A couple of Coldplay diehards have had a life-changing night in Melbourne. Lead singer Chris Martin called them onto the stage to hear Everglow, the song used in their marriage proposal.
I've been singing this song for 10 years, and for good no.
Great moment there. Sydney-siders can look forward to feeling the love when Coldplay performs at Accor Stadium next week. Well, Amber's back with the forecast now. Amber, how's tomorrow shaping up?
A little bit cloudy with the chance of an early shower or two, but Sunday should bring an early taste of summer. We've just received the latest weekend outlook. That's coming up next.
tonight's 7 News headlines, an Australian teacher in Spain has told 7 News how she helped save her young students from deadly floods.
Detectives are investigating the death of 2 police dogs inside a car designed to protect them.
Thousands of workers are set for big pay rises with new laws kicking in today.
And Jennifer Lopez has made a powerful speech alongside Kamala Harris in Las Vegas. Now, here's Amber with Sydney's weather. Amber.
Thank you, Michael. We are expecting to see a few showers developing over parts of Sydney later tonight and early tomorrow. But further north, very dangerous storms have been lashing parts of southeast Queensland this afternoon. Take a look at this. A mini tornado, or gust-nado it's being called, was seen sweeping down the Brisbane River as dangerous winds accompanied heavy rain and giant hail measuring up to 7 centimetres in some parts. Warnings are still in place there, but back home, right now in the city, it's hovering around 19 degrees in the CBD. Under those mostly clear skies, it reached 24 early this afternoon. To the satellite, we've got a very large cold front approaching, which is pushing heat ahead of it as it tracks east. That system is expected to gain more momentum as it enters Victoria and New South Wales late tomorrow. Not much in it in terms of rain, but winds are set to intensify, so multiple districts are expecting high fire danger on Sunday before cool air flushes that heat out behind the front. Taking a look around the capitals tomorrow though, 27 with a possible shower in Brisbane, a cloudy 25 on the way for Canberra, 26 under mostly clear skies tomorrow in Melbourne, 35 the top in Adelaide, a shower or 2, and 22 over in Perth. If we take a look at New South Wales now, a shower or 2 is possible along central and northern parts of the coast and ranges, but otherwise it's looking generally dry and sunny elsewhere. Temperatures above average in the far southwestern inland, a touch below average along parts of the coast, including here in Sydney. If we zoom in on the metro region now, cooler conditions are forecast under cloudy skies, hovering in the low 20s in most parts. 16 is the top out at Katoomba. On the water tomorrow, southeasterly should run at up to 15 knots early, turning northeasterly and increasing to around 25 knots in the middle of the day. But back in the city tomorrow, a possible early shower, clearing during the afternoon though. 22 degrees is the forecast top under those cloudy skies, and then temperatures soar. 32 to 34 degrees expected on Sunday under mostly sunny skies. You will need to make the most of it though, because tops should dip back down into the low to mid 20s. Monday in the city, Tuesday right across the city with the chance of more showers later next week. Sunday looking like the peak of the weekend. Michael and Angie.
Early taste of summer. Thank you, Amber. Now with his take on the weekend news, here's Mark Humphreys.
The US dumpster fire of an election is appropriately ending with a debate over which side is calling each other garbage. To recap, a comedian at Trump's rally called Puerto Rico garbage, resulting in Joe Biden appearing to refer to Trump supporters as garbage, leading to Donald Trump then dressing up as a garbage man and riding around in a garbage truck. Are we sure we want to buy submarines off these people? Okay. On one of his final campaign stops, Donald Trump declared this week that he will protect women. And if that didn't sound ominous enough, he added,
"I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not."
Trump there demonstrating his ongoing commitment to doing things to women without their consent. Meanwhile, Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, a name you'll hear either every day for the next 4 years or never again, steadied the ship with some more typical political rhetoric, declaring that he and Trump can win, quote, the normal gay guy vote. For all their vitriol towards immigrants who don't speak English, it's astonishing how much of what they say sounds like it was put through Google Translate. In more positive news, American politicians have joined in on the Halloween fun. Governors Wes Moore and Gretchen Whitmer both dressed up as Tim Walz, while Donald Trump dressed up as a convicted felon sex predator garbage man. While America's leaders argue over who called who garbage, Australia's leaders are arguing over who called an airline for an upgrade. The Prime Minister has denied ever asking Alan Joyce for an upgrade. The opposition leader has admitted to asking Gina Rinehart for a lift on a private jet, and Bob Katter has revealed he tried to call Ansett but is still on hold. And no one ever called Bonza, which explains their predicament. An inquiry into Australia's COVID response has been released, finding that Australia fared well compared to other countries, like that one where the garbage man wondered whether the virus could be killed by injecting disinfectant. The report detailed the cost of the delayed vaccine rollout and the effect of lockdowns, but of course the most damning finding was the long-lasting psychological damage from those attempted elbow bumps. Russia has fined Google $20 decillion for blocking Russian YouTube channels. If I were Google, I wouldn't wouldn't walk past any open windows, or tabs for that matter. For those who don't know, aka everyone, 20 decillion is 20 followed by 33 zeros. We haven't seen this many zeros since the Olympic judges revealed their scores for ray gun. That's the 6:57 p.m. news. I'm Mark Humphreys.
And that is 7 News for this Friday. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening.
Weekend Sunrise starts from 7 tomorrow from all of our 7 News team. Thanks so much for your company and have a great Friday night.
Good night.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want every minute of every day, including breaking news alerts. Download the 7 News app now.